But anyways, let's do some putting, right? So basically, one of the sponsors of the podcast is Back to Basics Putting Mirrors. Back to Basics Putting Mirrors, sponsors of the podcast. Been supporting us for a while. Designed by Richard Woodhouse and Grant Field, used by Cam Smith. Support those who support the podcast. This is their new one here. TM15, get your 15% off. Discount codes below. Lots of people are using it. Lots of people are purchasing it, because I know, because the emails come through. So thank you very much for supporting them, because keep supporting the podcast. So I'm stoked to see that. And in the Back to Basics putting segment here, John, do you have something for me, a putting tip that you can share with the listeners out there, or something they can put into their training? What have you got for us?
I love putting training aids, and so I'm glad you have the mirror there. I love to use a mirror. I love the template that shows a little bit of the arc and the face angle as you're coming through. So I love putting training aids and like working on your stroke. Okay, and I think that you can almost perfect the putting stroke. But when it comes to making more putts, I'm a big putt to the pitcher, as Tiger kind of said, and that was something that I've always kind of focused on too. And so the tip that I would like to give is a little bit, in my theme, how I like to say things.
Yes.
I would say, if you're putting, two drills that I really love. One, setting up to the ball. So let's say it's like a 15-footer. Setting up to the ball, looking at the line, taking everything in, closing your eyes, and hitting the putt. And it's like such a simple drill, but it forces you to be able to, it teaches you what you should be seeing even when your eyes are open. You should be feeling where the hole is at, like where it is in space, and trying to remember where it is. Your eyes are looking at the ball, and you're staying concentrated on making a good strike on the ball, but your mind's eye or what you're thinking about, you should still have some connection to the apex or the target line, like however you kind of see putts going in a hole. Whether some people connect the dots, have a start point. Some people see curves. So, you should have something going on externally also when you're putting. And putting with your eyes closed kind of teaches you that feel from doing that over and over again. So it's a drill that I'd love to do. Second drill is just putting left hand and right hand only to give you a little bit more awareness of maybe there's one hand in particular that just doesn't work good or like breaks down or something, and you have a little bit more awareness of that. And when you can strike good putts with left hand and right hand only, you put both hands on the club and they both have an idea how to be a little bit more stable and like move together.
Interesting that. And when you talk about the eyes closed, do you like the exercise there where you have the student or the player guess where the ball's finished?
Oh, yes. I like that. And I also like to have them. So another one I'll do is I'll put them like 10, 15 feet away from the hole, have them spin around, like close their eyes and spin around, and then like find the hole, like walk into the hole and put their putter grip in the hole. I would say spinning around is a little bit more advanced. I'll start them like facing the hole and then tell them to close their eyes, walk up to the hole, put their putter in the hole. And it's always a laughable moment because they'll, simple.
Yeah. Have you seen a consistent pattern when someone does that exercise with the grip? Because I haven't done that since I was for 15 years, I reckon. But have you seen a consistent pattern to where people finish? Is it short, long, right, left?
Usually short, for sure. Because like when your eyes are closed, I think there's a little bit of like, I don't know. People will go conservative and they'll usually go a little short.
You think they don't want to bump into something? They don't want to keep walking. They don't want to walk past.
I'm like, you're in a safe space. There's nothing around. Like, nothing's going to trip you,
Yeah.
But
you know what, though? But that is typical of the golfer, right, comes up short. The average golfer comes up short, right? Well, everyone does, sorry. Scott Force last week, everyone comes up short. And it's interesting because we always have fear of what's past the hole, right? So I'm not surprised that coming up short there is that one. And what was the second one you were talking about there again? You're talking about
left hand and right hand only putting.
I love that. You know what I heard the other day, John, about something, and someone said, I've got really good hand-eye. And the guy goes, yeah, but that's every other sport we're using one hand. Like talking about throwing a dart, throwing a baseball pitch or other types of exercises where we use one hand. He says it's the only time where you're saying you got hand up, but you got two connected. Not the only sport I should say, so because obviously you got baseball and other things like that as well. But it's very rare that you got the two connected, and hand-eye doesn't actually come into play
Yeah.
when you've got two, because it's not hand-eye, it's hands-eye. Does that make sense?
Yeah, hands eye. Yeah, that's a good point. And it's precision. Like it's usually, if it's precision, it's usually one hand, right? But power, like, baseball, you're trying to smash this ball. It's not exactly precision. Putting is like as precise as it gets, and you got to use two hands.
And when you see the dots there, right, just for me wanting to know as well, you mentioned there about when your eyes are closed and visually seeing something externally is the word you use there. Is there something that you personally, do you see connect the dots, curve? What do you see when you go to hit a putt?
I see a white line.
A white line?
White line. And you know where it came from? Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2004 on PlayStation. I swear.
That's so crazy.
I didn't play it. I played it a good amount, but I don't know, playing that video game and like seeing like you can like click R1 for Tiger line, and it would like show you the perfect line like into the hole. And it just that's just how I see putts now. When I visualize the ball going into the hole, I see a white line from the ball into the hole, and then I trace it right back to the ball again, and then I putt.
It's interesting because I come from a background of like surfing and skating and kind of spending a lot of time in the bowl, like of just kind of surfing the bowl where I grew up as a kid. So, and like riding motocross a lot as a kid. So I see slopes and stuff more as a, like I still skate now. Like I'm still the old dude that gets up to the skate park and has a bit of muck around, but I don't see the actual line. And the same thing with my putting is I see the curvature and I can feel it more than I can and I can see it. I don't see a white line, but because you spend a lot of time looking at it, right, and seeing the ball fall away. But I always, it just kind of brings me back to like surfing, skating. So I kind of see that. And I know some people
environment a lot more in those situations because you could like severely hurt yourself. You become like hyper aware and can see those. Like you have to be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of see like the first bit, the second bit, you might see a couple of different sections. So anyways, that's kind of how I look at it. But mate, there's some cool stuff there. I love the closed eye stuff with that, with kids and stuff and running junior clinics with other coaches of mine around me doing that. So that technique, just kind of close your eyes and turn your putt around, try and get the thing in the hole. And give them a prize for getting it. But that brings us to the end of the Back to Basics putting segment. Support those who support the podcast. TM15 for 15% off, the best putting mirror in the world. Designed by Grant Field and Richard Woodhouse. Grant Field's told me he's going to get Ken Smith on for me one day. Haven't you, Grant?